time, weather.
Now for the Forge Podcast. Question for you. What's the power of your testimony if it's never shared? This is the Forge Podcast.
A ministry of Scottsdale Bible Church.
My name's George Edward Walters, and they call me Joby. And I got that nickname from my dad had it, because my aunt couldn't say Georgie, she said Joby. And my mom stole it from Dad, give it to me, and I asked my father one day, I said, hey, Pop, I said, why don't you ever call me George or Joby? And he said, because he stole my name. He always called me boy or son, never George or Joby. And I asked him why. He said, because you stole my name.
And was he serious or was he joking? Did he really take offense to that?
I think so.
Ah.
No, but it was all right. No. Me and Dad, we connected at the end.
Okay.
We did.
Did you feel like you stole, once he told you that, did you feel like you stole his name?
No.
Because you probably wore it as a badge of honor, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was Joby. I mean, even in school, some of them tried to call me George, and I made it straight that my name's Joby. You know.
Can I ask how you made it straight?
Sum it up from the HA to who I am today. I ride for the Lord, man. It took me a long time to get back on a motorcycle because I didn't want to trigger nothing. A long time. And I liked riding. Looking on the horizon, I like to see myself on the horizon on a horse as I'm going down the highway. But from then until today, man, I don't have what you need out there, but I know who does, and his name's Jesus. That's who I am today. His name's Jesus.
How long were you in the Hells Angels?
With prison and everything, going on 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. I did some federal time, and I did some state time for the club. Always for the club. I could go into that all the way down the line for the club.
And when you're in there, were there I mean, did you have...
Camaraderie, brotherhood.
Yeah. Was there a brotherhood inside?
I had a hard lesson at that. When I first got myself around them, Hoover, and built a bike, went and seen, there's a story in that, but they asked me, said, what are you going to do when you get that bike built? They was building a new clubhouse, so I jumped in, helped, got to know everybody.
Yeah.
I said, it was when Sonny moved to Arizona. I was building a motorcycle, and me and Hoover had made a deal, and I was running around with him because Hoover had no way to run around because he was taking his bike apart and building another one, and I bought the frame, rolling chassis. Well, when Sonny came, we went to Oakland in my truck, get some parts. Johnny Angel and Sonny Barger were moving to Arizona, and the first thing I thought, boy, that's going to make this chapter rich. Cave Creek, anniversary parties, birthday parties, cha-ching, it's really going to motivate and move that club. And, there's Hells Angels. They were men.
Yeah.
They were men after the same thing. Camaraderie, brotherhood. And Sonny asked me, what are you going to do when you get that bike running? And I looked at him and I said, I think I'll join your club and be an honor if you'd sponsor me.
So you knew Sonny before you were a member?
Uh-huh.
How'd you meet him?
When I was building that motorcycle. I was with Hoover and building that new clubhouse. I met all the members. I had nothing going on. When I came from Canada, bear hunting, I was guiding bear hunters up in Canada. I had a pocket full of money, and I thought, I'm going to build a bike again. And I set out to do it. But when I came back from Canada, all my buddies, I don't drink. I quit drinking in 92, but I like to shoot pool.
Yeah.
And I was good at it.
Yeah. Are you any good at pool still?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't take me long to get, I can not shoot in 3 or 4 months and watch yourself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But they said, she's dating a Hells Angel. And everybody was my cowboy buddies up in arms, like, whoa, I said, well, no big deal. I've been around men. I've been around bikers.
Yeah.
So what? So I went next morning to go see her. And that's when I met. She squealed, come out behind the bar, gave me a kiss. And I said, introduce me to your friend. And Hoover, the president of the Cave Creek Hells Angels, was sitting there. And she introduced us, and we shook hands. And he said, you're that tour hunting guide she talks about. I said, yes, I am. And we chopped it up a little bit and found out he knew some people up in Michigan that I knew down in West Virginia, the Avengers. And he said, she told me you used to ride a little bit. And I told him, yeah, down in West Virginia. And he said, you wasn't with them pagans, were you? I said, oh, no. I said, the Avengers. And he says, well, I'm from Detroit. And I said, well, you know some. So here we are. I said, let's go outside if we're going to start, chalking names back and forth. But he darn sure checked it out, figured I was all right. And I looked at him on that chassis, and we talked later on, and that's where I bought my rolling chassis. I handed Hoover $2,000 on a handshake, and when you get the motor out, I'll give you the other two. Oh. He had no way around. I had a truck. I met Sonny in Oakland when we drove up there to get parts, help. Yeah. And I remember asking Hoover, where'd you find him at? And Hoover said, there's a lot more to him. And Sonny liked cowboys, man. Yeah. He liked the West. He did time right there off I-17, and he liked Arizona, plus the club, the Dirty Dozen. He wanted to come to Arizona, so he tried to, the only way he could do it was if the Dirty Dozen had let him, so the Dirty Dozen went Hell's Angel. And half of them only did it. The other half of the Dirty Dozen didn't care for that. So
what's the Dirty Dozen?
Dirty Dozen was the infamous motorcycle number 1% of Arizona. You did not come to Arizona. I don't care who you were, banditos, outlaws, pagans, really? Hell's Angels. The only way they could get in to get to the Dirty Dozen was to make the Dirty Dozen Hell's Angels. Because the Dirty Dozen told the Hell's Angels, you're not coming to Arizona.
How did it go down?
They nurtured it. They got it going. Okay. I got around them after their 1-year anniversary, and they were still kind of new at it. But, it was a good bunch of guys.
How many were in the Dirty Dozen? I mean, was it only?
Oh, I don't know.
12?
I don't know the numbers that switched over.
Okay.
I
decent
heard half
size
of them. I'm not sure. Maybe 60 because you had 5 different charters. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different charters, but they switched over. I don't think I'd have run with the Dirty Dozen. I mean, I didn't drink or do drugs. I quit all that in 1992, June 3rd, 1:30 in the afternoon in Durango, Colorado.
What happened?
A turning point in my life, man. Another one. Something that the Lord blessed me with. I'd party with you. After we got done drinking up my money, we'll spend yours.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to go to work in 2 hours. Well, let's do a shot in another line and we'll go to work. That was, I partied, but I wasn't an addict. But I was up in Durango at the Knife and Gun Club, Rio Rancho bar, and I got into it on a pool game with some Indians. And we went at it with pool balls and sticks, and the cowboy jumped off and helped me. And we got 4 of them beat up. And we left because we wanted to. And I didn't realize it when I got in the truck. I was pretty bloodied up, but I was high. Jack Daniels and cocaine.
Sure.
And I got stopped by the law. And that was back when you was allowed to get out. Here it is, midnight.
Right.
I got an old 68 Chevy, and I step out, and he just put his hand on his gun. And I thought he was going for the radio. I said, you better push that little button because there ain't enough of you to take me in right now. And he brought enough. He did. He brought enough. So we got that out of the way. Yeah. I did some community service and paid for what I tore up and at the bar, and I had 10 days work release. And my girl at the time, Marlo, me and her were at a buddy of mine's ranch. He's signing me out for work release. And I was fishing for trout. He had some trout ponds there. And it was called The Fort, the place.
The Forge?
The Fort, outside of Durango, Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, stable. And Marlo said she was going to the store. And I said, well, get some stuff, a salad and potato flakes. We'll do these fish, And she said, you want something to drink? You don't have to go in for 2 days. And I could have dropped the fishing pole in the pond. I said, sit down here, honey. She was a good woman. I lost her because of the club. And if I could go back to all 4 wives, I'm sorry. They were all good women. It was me chasing something that wasn't real.
Right.
Wasn't real at all. But back to Marlo and me, we sitting there, and I added up all the hurt and the pain that I caused myself and other people. And it added up to drugs and alcohol. I figured I had enough of that. You know, I wasn't any fun anymore when I got back to Arizona, but it sure stepped me up in a way that I had more sense about me. I didn't need the bars. I had more time, you know, to do things productive, and then turn around, you know, and join the Hells Angels. Why not?
I bet, man, that's a great point. I bet you were so much more effective as an
Absolutely.
HA because you didn't have
That's
that.
right.
You weren't in it just for you weren't in it for the party at all.
I was in for Brotherhood. I see trouble coming before it even got there. That's why they gave me some money. Sonny's book signing tour. Gave me some money to run with. Sonny had a credit card. There was me and Teddy and a prospect. And Sonny Barger headed to Illinois to start a book signing in Chicago to end up in L.A. I rode beside Sonny. I walked beside Sonny. I ate with Sonny. I slept in the same room with Sonny. And I admired the man.
Listen, I have 3 interactions with the Hells Angels. One was 10 years old in the back of a car, right, family trip, and 50 HA ride through town. And you hear your dad say, "Oh, that's the Hells Angels." Yeah. And being a churchgoer, Hells and Angels, they didn't really match. So
really, yeah.
As a kid, you just put them together. Yeah. They're some bad dudes.
They're bad.
I told you, I got to go to Sonny's house.
Yes. Yes.
Film a ride along with him and one of the actors from Sons of
That's
Anarchy.
what you said, yeah.
I got to see all his horses, and
I shot his horses and trimmed them all the time.
Man, I bet we barely probably crossed paths. Interesting.
I'm looking at you from here down. You look a little familiar. Yeah. Names of hard on faces.
I filmed some HA events in Northridge, California. How I got involved in that, I don't know.
You don't.
That's it. And then now you tell me what is the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club? What does it stand for? What is it, and what was it to you? Like, educate us that we're not part of that world.
Back in an era of bikers, real bikers. When they started.
What does that mean? A real biker?
The grease, the grime, the old bikes, sitting on the side of the road fixing them, wiping your hands on the jeans that you had for 3 days, you know.
So it's a lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
You live it. You live it all the way through. If you're a biker, you'll know it. But you're looking back at an era. Today's bikers, clean jeans, spiffed up, good job, you know, different. Sure. If you're looking for a biker out there today at our age, during our era, let's say 18 to 25, you're not going to find him here today. And that's what.
So it's a lifestyle in the same way that a surfer, that's a lifestyle of a surfer. Yeah. A cowboy is a lifestyle. You are sleeping on the range. Yeah. You are with your horse. Yeah. And you're saying that's the same thing. That's what a real biker is.
That's what a real biker is.
The lifestyle.
Of it. And what they have out there today, and you all know it. Look you right in the eye and tell you someday when I'm doing a book signing, it's not what it was then, and it never will be again.
And so you were attracted to that lifestyle in the Hells Angels. And the Hells Angels did it better than anybody.
Yes. They were the ones. They were the ones. They were the beginning. And why? Because they grew so fast. And when Sonny took Oakland, you know, the history. You know, you see documentaries. He wasn't the leader of the pack, but he was the leader of the men. It's one man, one vote. But Sonny, he made it grow. He had people were drawn to him. I was drawn to him. He made a good Christian. He really would have.
I heard that.
They would have.
And that broke my heart.
Mine too.
For him.
Mine too, because I couldn't go see him. And I would have. You know, we had something. And I broke his heart when I walked like I did. But I tell you what.
Did he know why you walked? Because of the
Yes,
Lord?
Absolutely. You know, and I have no regrets, because there's some lies about Brotherhood today, and there's lies about I'll take a bullet for you. It's not true. You know, I had a charter that I tried to go with at Skull Valley, and I had all the wrong people, except for Bobby maybe. you know, all the wrong people for all the wrong reason. I wanted to go to get back to the hills and put a charter up there. The other people wanted to come to up their prestige, and so they could be something that they couldn't down there. That's exactly why, and you know who I'm talking about. You out there, one's dead. You know, they were chasing something on their back. They had something back there that they idolized, and they had to make people know about it. I wanted to be idolized with the patch on my back, not because it made me. I made it. I was a Hell's Angel. And I wanted to be with somebody, and not many. I was a loner. I like to travel by myself. I traveled through country that I never should have been by myself. You know, Sonny called me one time and said, "Be careful coming through Albuquerque. There's some the banditos got the rock machine down there, and they'll try to kill you."
What's the rock machine?
It's a club out of Canada that we warred with in Quebec.
Okay.
And believe it or not, they're in Arizona now. They all came back.
So if they saw you riding through,
They'd try to kill me.
Really?
Yes, and I rode through from Rhode Island all the way through Philly and all through that country. The shortest route to Kentucky, where my truck was, on my motorcycle, I asked the club up there. I'd flown over to Europe to talk to somebody. And I said, you know, it's the fastest way to Kentucky so I can get back, you know. And they told me, and they said, that's pagan country. I said, cool. They'll see a Hell's Angel riding through it. You know, it didn't bother me.
All right. What is a one percenter? I keep hearing this term, one percenter.
It started way back in the 40s, late 40s, early 50s. You know, it was like you had ABATE, American Motorcycle, also AMA, American Motorcycle Association, and then you had these outlaw motorcycle clubs that just like to drink, raise heck, fight. You know, I mean, a bunch of Army guys get together, throw a patch on, make themselves something like the booze fighters, man. You know, that old boy started a creation. They're everywhere. They're bigger than
What is it?
the Booze Fighters MC motorcycle club.
Oh, I never heard of it.
Oh, look them up sometime.
Booze fighters?
Booze Fighters.
Okay.
Cool bunch of guys.
They like to drink and fight.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
it?
That's that. There was a club that had a motorcycle problem that drank a lot. You know, exactly what they were. And they played it well. You know, my nephew became Wayne Rowley. He was a booze fighter for a while. Then some medical issues hit him down in Florida. But he was a good hand. He helped me through the Hells Angels deal. You know, and he was around. He could have been a Hells Angel. You know, and I wouldn't condone him at all, but I'd rather lead him to Christ now, you know, and a little bit of that. But not one percenter, the AMA, American Motorcycle Association, said, hey, you know, we're 100% for, you know, United and bikers and all that. And you got these outlaws that they're the 1% that just stay off the reel, and they make their own rules. They fight society, and they're all about themselves. And they called them, you're the one percenters. So it's an outlaw club, you know, one percenter.
Gotcha.
And there's, I don't know how many in the U.S., but the major five really, because of the growth of the Mongols throughout the years. And, well, you got the Hells Angels, of course. Then you got the Outlaws, the Pagans, the Banditos, and the Mongols. And then if you want to go on, there's another one that started up down there in Florida that got into it with the Outlaws, and I can't remember the name.
So 1% represents all the outlaw motorcycle
Yes,
clubs.
if you're a one percenter,
Gotcha.
you want to part the wave, man. Mm-hmm. You're going to part the sea.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to the motorcycle world. Yeah. When you're looking for that, and all those men got together, what they were looking for is a camaraderie, a brotherhood. I'll take a bullet for you. Brotherhood today, and I'll take a bullet for you, is the two best lies that the one percenters have today. It's not true. They're idolizing something on their back that's going to send them to hell. And they don't reach out. I asked Sonny one time, I said, you believe in God? He said, no. I said, why? We were in a hotel room traveling. I don't know why it come up. And he said, because if there was a God, all the bad in the world today wouldn't be. I said, you're wrong, brother. I said, God let us go out on our own. We have to reach for him. He's there. And Sonny said, oh, you believe in God? I said, absolutely. And we shut up right there. And I look back on that today, and it was like, what happened to me? What happened? I'm idolizing something on my back. Would I give my life for it? No. Would I give my life to God? Yes. And I tell you what, that'll be the easiest choice you ever have in your life if you just make that move.
But you bring up such a good point, and it's a strong argument. The fact that there's so much evil in the world that God can't exist. I just did work for a gentleman. He was a machine gunner on a helicopter in Vietnam. Right? Those guys saw.
I can relate.
Those guys saw some
Yes.
terrible stuff. So I'm painting his house, and we're just sitting chatting. He's 75, 80 years old. And I said, hey, do you believe in God? He's like, nope. Because of what I saw, if a God would not allow that to happen. And that's sad. It's tragic. I said, well, don't you think that proves the existence of a devil that
Absolutely.
can equally co-opt man to
I was going to go there.
idolize power and money and land and governments and rule over people to a point where we're willing to kill another human? He's like, nope. So I'm like, okay. But I prayed. I said, Lord, I hope a seed was planted in that man, like, because you never know.
You never know.
He said, I just saw too much that says there's no way a Lord would let this happen.
You know, he has the devil's a lord. He has his following.
He's got his own kingdom, man.
And you know, I've heard voices behind my back that I didn't want to turn and see who it was. That's one thing to fear. If somebody ever tell I ain't afraid of him, you better be.
Of the devil?
Yeah, you better be. You know, if you fear anything in your life, it better be the devil. If you love anything in your life, it better be the Lord, because it's coming. One day you'll have to make that choice. Don't let it be too late.
Right.
Don't let it be too late. It wasn't too late for me. I saw it. For 40 years he run me around just like he did, you know, Moses. From my high school of a book, to crossing the switchblade, and prayed upon the Holy Ghost grabbing me and scaring me to death, and I throwed it away. 40 years later, almost to the month, the Lord said, come here, Joby, I have a job for you now.
Back up. That's something I did want to point out, or I wanted you to expand on, was that high school moment where you were embraced by the Lord,
Yes.
and then you with intent and purpose said, get away from me. Yes. So retell that for me.
Thank you for listening to the Forge Podcast.